Hello and welcome to Sociocultural Screencast. Our new topic that we're going to be moving on to is USA and sport in the USA. So basically, so far we've looked at sport in England, we've looked at surviving ethnic sports, we've looked at traditional amateur approach to sport in England, moving to a more professional approach, and we've also had a look at the English public schools and the role they played in the development of sport in England. Now from that, we're now going to move and transfer our attention to two countries. First the USA, then we're going to move on to Australia after. So what do we need to know about USA and in particular sport, about sport in USA? We need to know the following. So first up, we need to know history, or the characteristics of America as a country on its own. Now, this does not include, sport. We're just talking about general America as a standalone country. What are the characteristics that make them unique as a country? Then, from there, we'll have a look at. We'll move on to the next part. We'll do it sequentially. So if I just go through quickly, these are some characteristics of America. So if I said to you kind of what do you need to know? First one, let's say you get three. The first one you need to look at is it's a relatively young nation. And what we mean by that is it's only 250 years since it's had its independence from being a British colony. So if you can just kind of have that there to start with, and take it from there. So basically, young nation, it's only 250 years old. Now, the native population are Indians. So basically, this can be termed as the indigenous population. So our native Indians, you can put that down. That one, I would say, is less important. Large population, again, not as important. What is really important is that, it is something it's the economy within America as a country is capitalism. So basically what we're saying is a capitalist nation. What this means is capitalism is referring to this kind of notion of free enterprise or individual profit or individual gain. So basically it's saying that anybody is encouraged to try and make the most of themselves. So if you're looking for a definition, it's the economic system in America is based upon capitalism, okay, which is referred or can be defined as free enterprise or individual gain and profit from business, and it also links to sport. Also, it's an extremely powerful nation. All right, so they are the kind of key things we're focusing on. They are the characteristics. This has never come up in an exam, but it's one of those things where you do need to have some kind of understanding of it. So, history, characteristics of America, young nation, 250 years old, the indigenous population with native Indians, if you want to use that. Then you're looking at kind of this one particularly. It's a capitalist nation, or the kind of economic system within the country is capitalism. And then you also have this kind of concept of America being a very powerful nation in terms of world decisions. So that's something you can put on top as well. You need three. You need to be able to identify them. You're not really looking to describe them. We do look at this a little bit more later, but for now that's enough. So moving on from there then. So you've got these history characteristics. We'll leave that bit. That's your first section. The thing that we're going to be looking at a little bit tomorrow's lesson, or whenever you have a lesson next, is sport in America. What is the nature? How is sport played in America, and how is it different to what the traditional approach to say English sport was? So we'll have a look at the nature of sport in America. So moving on to this then. Key focus, we're looking at these. Now, these are the key focuses of American sport. So American sport is 100% their focus, and this is kind of, we'll come back down to it in a minute, but this is kind of linked to kind of capitalism a little bit. We will talk about this in a separate entity, but the win ethic. So what you have here is, like, in America, it's really important that individuals want to better themselves and make gains and make profit and be successful. And this all comes around a concept that I've already touched on when we looked at kind of the modern professional approach to sport in the UK. And basically this is kind of derived really from America. America have been a country that have kind of been really kind of involved with this kind of concept of a win ethic. Now the win ethic, in order to describe what the win ethic means, it refers to a win at all costs approach to sport. Okay, this can be kind of termed Lombardian ethic, because there was a really successful American football coach called Vince Lombardi, and he had a real kind of, there's a variety of quotes linked to him saying, winning's not everything, it's the only thing. And there's lots of different things. You'll find lots of information on Vince Lombardi if you googled it. But if you're going to carry on living your life, you probably won't. So this is what that bit means there. Win ethic, how do you describe it? American sport has a win at all costs philosophy. A second place means nothing. Okay, moving on from there. Sport in America is heavily linked to commercialism. So as soon as you use the word commercialism, this basically says that sport is run as a business. So what you have is teams that run as franchises, okay, where profit is the main aim. So you'll have franchises like New York Yankees, you'll have franchises in baseball, you might have franchises such as Chicago Bears, American football. I'm sure you can think of a few off the top of your head. So the run as business where profit is the key focus. Now, you might think now, this makes sense, because now I think about the professional approach to sport in the UK. Sport has been now a business. And again, it's something we've took from America. We've become Americanized in some ways, and certainly within sport. Now, another nature really specific to America in terms of their sport is something called the American dream. Now, this is a kind of a concept that goes within the whole of America and with all of society. And it basically says, if I can kind of say, anybody can go from zero to a hero. Now, that's not the term we're going to use. We're going to use the fact that sport is the vehicle to go from rags to riches. America is the free world, basically. When America had its independence, it was basically said that, you know, if you go to America, if you are American, anybody can rise from being very poor to very rich. Now, of course, we're talking about sport now. So as you can see, sport is a huge vehicle from people to go from extreme poverty, okay, so from ghettos in America to being multi-million-pound sports stars. So things, for example, basketball players, American football players, people come from nothing to suddenly becoming multi-million-pound dollar performers. So that's your key description. Going on from here, sport, again, as you can see, this is another link to what we talked about professional sport in the UK, another thing that we've taken from America. The Golden Triangle is really embedded within American sport, so sport is heavily linked or entwined with media and sponsorship. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more of that about a lesson tomorrow. Then you've got onto this. There is the biggest difference, I suppose, between American sport and sport in the UK or Britain is the fact that high school and university sport is really high status, so you need to kind of make sure you talk about this. Now, you're looking at this, and I'll put in examples here. I've worked in America for 5 years. You go and watch an American football game at high school, which is basically from 14 to 18 there, and you will have up to 10,000 people watching a high school American football game on a Friday night. You look back and think at your high school. Think about when you played a high school game. What's the most people you had? Probably about 5, 6, 7, maybe 20 if you were lucky. You know the difference. It's a massive, massive difference. University sport, America, you're looking at 80,000 people watching games. Okay, it's almost as popular as actual professional sport, certainly American football. So you're looking there, 80,000 people. University in England, very rare you get people watching games. So you can kind of see how the massive difference in high school and university sport. And the main reason for that is because they don't have academies like we do for, say, for example, football. In order to get into elite sport in America, you have to go through high school and university. You cannot be joined to an academy set up at a professional club. That comes after university. Okay, last point then. The big four sports dominate American sports society. So we're talking about this then. The big four sports that dominate are American football, ice hockey, basketball and baseball. So by doing this, what will happen is the media coverage of these four sports outweighs any of the other sports. So you have got rising sports, you've got things such as soccer, or we would call football, which is getting more media coverage, but still these are the traditional four main sports of America. They are things which are specific, that they invented, therefore they have real kind of heritage to them, and it's a kind of sign, I think. Americans are very keen to keep that independence, and these are sports which allow them to be independent. So, for example, you might hear Baseball World Series, but only America playing it. Okay, so it's a real kind of patriotic country due to the fact that I suppose they're kind of quite young in their independence. So, the last one, which isn't on there, is capitalism. Okay, so as we talked about earlier, that there's a capitalist nature of American sport where individual gain is seen as necessary and essential to be successful. So people take on or buy clubs or franchises in order to make profit. Okay, so capitalism, if you can add that one on there, individual gain or profit is a key part of American sport. So there are your key things there then. So America, going back to what the points we looked at here then, you've got this bit now, history, or what I need you to have, let's say, 2 characteristics, maybe 3 of America, and then you need to talk to me about 5 to 6 key natures of sport in general in America. After that, we're going to have a look at origins and nature of American football and commercialism and violence in American football. So that's your key bit. Make sure you make good call now notes on those for tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever your lesson is. Okay, thank you.